Today I'm going to review a Roblox tower defense game called Monolith Tower Defense, which is said to be a gacha tower defense game that's actually good. And I got this information from my previous video, so I wasn't sure enough if it was accurate. After playing it, well, let's just say the experience was actually interesting. After joining a game, I receive a login reward, which is pretty standard for games with in-game currencies these days. However, something interesting caught my eye. On the UI, there are only 3 tower slots available. This is quite unusual for a tower defense game. Well, it turns out though that there is a way to increase the number of tower slots, but more on that later. Anyway, after noticing the 3 tower slots, my attention was drawn to the left corner where I saw a beginner's tutorial that offers rewards for new players. This is a great way to introduce newcomers into the game, as it provides an incentive for learning the mechanics while rewarding them along the way. I completed a few tasks and jumped into my first game, choosing the easiest difficulty since I was a newbie. The match lasted about 5 minutes and could be completed using just a star tower, which was great. However, the rewards were, well, a bit underwhelming. Around 100 gold and 100 XP. While it's not terrible, it didn't feel very rewarding for new players, especially considering that a gacha roll cost like 300 gold each. After the game, I completed the first phase of the tutorial and received a checkpoint. Now, I really wish the developers had included a tutorial on how to use this, because I had no idea what it was for. I ended up upgrading my cadet skills, which turned out to be a poor choice for me. Next, I progressed through the second phase of the tutorial and received my rewards, which were 3 cadet towers? Well, apparently in this game, duplicates are used to upgrade your towers. For example, if you have a duplicate of a tower, you can ascend it from tier 0 to tier 1. As a Wildcats player, I actually find this system actually pretty okay, since it encourages players to keep playing to level up their tower. Though I'm not sure how the average Roblox players will feel about it. Now, while needing to roll for duplicates to upgrade your tower might sound frustrating, it's actually not that big of an issue since the stat buffs aren't significant or necessary to progress through the higher difficulties. After this, I went ahead and rolled for 10 units, and this is when I realized the game has different factions for towers. There's the military faction, the radiation faction, and the fish faction, officially called the aquatic faction, but I prefer to call it the fish faction. This is also when I realized that each faction has unique abilities. In the military faction, you have the cadet spawn ability, which summons 3 cadets to attack enemies for 30 seconds at a chosen location. The fish faction has the geyser ability, which deals AoE damage and slows enemies, while the radiation faction has the chemical grenade ability, similar to the fish factions, but it deals AoE damage over time instead of instant damage and slowing. You unlock these abilities by spending tech points, which you earn by leveling up or completing missions through the faction tree option in the lobby. Remember when I mentioned my mistake in upgrading cadet skills? Well, it turns out you can buy additional tower slots in the general faction tree up to 2 slots, and the game doesn't inform new players about this at all. When I attempted the aquatic difficulty, I only brought 3 towers, all of which were single target. In this mode, there's an enemy called the Mama Shrimp, which spawns mini shrimps. Without any special damage towers, I was quickly overwhelmed and ended up losing the game. After discovering the extra tower slots, I bought them and brought along the Demolitionist Tower, which helped me win the aquatic difficulty. This really shows how crucial the faction tree system is for players. It's actually kind of baffling that the developers didn't include any tutorial to explain the system. After all that, I finally finished the tutorial phase and quest and earned my stud match, marking the end of my journey in this Monolith Tower Defense. So, what's my rating for this game? I give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Let's talk about the bad apples from my earlier points. First, the rewards, especially in the early game, feel underwhelming. Getting only 100 gold and 100 XP per game when a gacha roll costs 300 gold doesn't feel rewarding for new players. However, the game actually allows you to grind these golds very fast by using the quest and weekly quest system. There are also quests from NPCs around the map, which is also pretty good. But again, maybe kind of increase the rewards for beginners so that they feel encouraged to play the game even more. Then we got the reliance of duplicates to upgrade towers. While manageable, it actually can push players to spend money for progression, and the randomness of gacha pulls means you aren't guaranteed to get the duplicates you need. Up next, we got the faction tree system, which is key to unlocking extra tower slots and abilities. It isn't explained properly to new players. Missing out on this crucial system can make early progressions unnecessarily difficult. Up next, we got the lack of splash damage tower for early on, especially when facing enemies like the Mama Shrimp, can lead to frustrating losses unless you stumble upon the extra tower slots. Despite these issues, the game still offers a solid experience with room for improvement. I actually really appreciate that Monolith Tower Defense features multiple factions for towers, each with its own unique designs. The military faction focuses on pure firepower, while the fish faction excels at slowing enemies and dealing great DPS, though they're limited by the fact that all of their towers can only be placed on water. Lastly, the radiation faction specializes in damage over time. The diversity of this game makes the game far more interesting, as it opens up a wide range of strategies based on these different factions. Now there's a snow faction, but I'm not sure how to unlock them yet, so I can't comment on their specialty. The faction tree system is another feature I really enjoy. It allows you to either specialize in one faction and master it, or be a jack of all trade, master of none, but having access to multiple factions. This flexibility really opens up different gameplay styles, which I find really engaging. And lastly, I want to mention the maps. They're a bit hit or miss. For example, the lighthouse map is literally a lighthouse on an island, but 55% of the map is water, making the fish faction the obvious choice for this map. On the other hand, the night market map has barrels for the fish faction, but they are oddly placed near the enemy entrance, which feels a bit off in terms of strategic placement. So yeah, I actually recommend giving Monolith Tower Defense a try if you're into fair gacha tower defense games. Just make sure to spend your tech points wisely. Although if you do mess up, you can reset your tech tree for free by purchasing a reset for 2,500 gold. It's a lot, but at least it offers a way for players to correct mistakes without having to spend real money. I'm Marza, and thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe for more content.